Hello, listeners. Today we welcome Sampath, co-founder of SaaS Mantra, to the podcast. SaaS Mantra is a consultancy that specializes in helping SaaS companies generate more revenue from their existing marketing budget. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. Welcome, Sampath. Most SaaS consultants come from corporate backgrounds or MBA programs, but you've got a different story. How did you end up here?
Hey, Joe. So, firstly, thanks for having me on this podcast. It's a pleasure. It was great meeting you a couple of weeks back, like 3, 4 weeks back, and then now doing a podcast with you. It's a pleasure. It's always great to catch up with like nice folks like you. So, to answer your question, the background story, you prefer like a little bit of background story to this of how we started? So,
Yeah, a little bit of background.
yeah,
Perfect. Yeah.
for sure. So, I was into corporate. Like I have worked in a couple of corporates before I started my own consulting firm. So the goal or the purpose, I would say, when we were working more, me and a co-founder, she's my wife as well. So when we are working in the corporates, we have noticed like one thing that's quite common is like when back then in 2014, 2015, there are too many SaaS products coming out, and every one of them have been going through the same set of challenges, which is like building a great product usually takes like a lot of time. I mean, almost like 10 years back, it was not as easy building product like today it is, like with Bolt and Cursor and whatnot. You can build products faster, right? But back then, like you take a lot of time to build the product. By the time you publish the product, you get the product live, you're like tired, right? And then comes the challenge, and that's where the challenge begins. Like you have to acquire users and then get to the revenue, get the feedback, and so on and on. So we thought that why not or have a strategy where we can combine all of them into one. So you're going to be helping to find users. There on one end, there's like a major challenge for the founders is to find the right set of users who will share the feedback with them, who will pay money to use the product, and then they want to work closely with the users to grow the product to the next level and so on. On the other end, there's like a big set of users who have no clue that such a product exists, right? And all we want to do is like we just figure out like we just need to build a bridge using which both the parties can get connected. So that's all we had to do, right? And this bridge is where all the transactions is going to happen. But what we want to be focusing on is how the transformation can happen for both the parties. When I'm using this software, how exactly my life, my business is going to be changing around, and how getting these users on board is how I can grow my product faster. So that's all we need to figure out. So we started focusing more on the transformations for both the parties. Like on one end, SaaS founders, hey guys, you want users to pay, and you want users to give you feedback. Hey guys, you want like awesome product in your hands that's going to be helpful for you to grow your business faster, and you don't want to pay a lot to I mean, like back then, like HubSpot, Salesforce, they were like up CRM, and they were like super expensive even for a small business owner, right? So how about we work closely with B2B products, B2B SaaS, whose ideal target audience or SMB audience. And SMB audience don't have like too much of budget to shell out for every single product out there. So let's work out like a very awesome deal so that both the parties get connected and they can start working on the transformation between each other, and the transactions will happen naturally. That's all we did. So that's how we focused on this.
Brilliant. Yeah. So you were looking for the hottest SaaS products out there and going, now we actually just need to build that bridge, like you say, and it all falls down if the product doesn't deliver on its promises. But if you've got a great product but the marketing's not quite there, that's where you can really strengthen that bridge and build it. And like you say, go to the founders and go to the people that want it as well, the SMBs. So that's great. And you've generated 17.2 million from selling SaaS to 100K plus customers without a single sales call. So what's your secret? How did you do that?
Yeah, so I mean, like basically, I'm not from a sales background, right? So, and place from where I am, the word sales basically means, hey guys, you are selling me something that I don't want. So, the moment you hear someone is going to have a sales call with you, your mind automatically triggers to say the word no, right? And that's ideally because, like, it's kind of like in our DNA where we started growing up, where we have seen like a lot of salesmen always coming in, and our parents would say no, right? And we watch them as we grow up. So saying no to any salesperson is in our blood. And I hate the word no, honestly. Like as much as I have taken a no's in my life, I also do hate the word no. I don't want anyone to say like, hey, no. And I hate being like salesy. I hate being like pushy tactics. Hey guys, this is what you're going to change your life, blah this. I prefer one of the ways that how I build my life is like, I don't want to do something to you that I don't want you to do to me, right? So now if I'm going to try and sell something to you in some of the way, like you're going to come and sell something back to me, I don't want that to happen. I'm only going to show you how exactly your life is going to change from point A to point B. I mean, like everyone in this world, especially in the business world, is trying to get from point A to point B, no matter what in your life, right? So you are here at point A, right, and you are here, and you want to get to point B, and I'm going to show you here is exactly. I'm just going to lay down the exact blueprint of how this happened, how we have been doing this, and how we sold millions of dollars of worth of SaaS products. Absolutely, in this podcast, you're going to just watch it live, right? You're here at point A, and you're here at point B. I'm going to show you how exactly or what exactly is the challenge that you have in point A to so that you want to go to point B. Now I'm talking your language, right? Speaking in your language, telling the problems you have without you telling that to me, then naturally your mind tells me, hey, you know what? This guy's a homie. I should listen to this guy more, right? You do that at level one, step one. Step two is like, I'm going to show you which is the way you should take to go to point B, right? And then that's like step two, showing you the exact path. And step three is like, what is there in point B for you, right? And once you say that, then once these three steps are done in the right order, and then the step four is like showing, hey, with this product, you can get from here to there faster. If you're gonna do this, it's gonna take like probably like months of your time. And by the time you get there, too many people would have gotten there and they would have gotten to point C or point D already, right? Now, with this product, with our product, you can go from here to here really, really fast. Time is money. So it's your call. You can take a bite or you can do it manually on your own. That's totally up to you. I'm not going to be trying and selling this to you. But if you do that, I promise you, I'm going to be with you every step because I have built this product and I know how exactly it works. And if you stumble somewhere, I know I can help you. But then if you're going to take your own paths, right? And then if you're stuck, I may not be able to help you. So when you follow the first three steps, you build like tons of trust, right? You trust a homie than anyone else, right? So someone from your town, someone from your neighborhood, from your network. So once you build the trust, and then you're going to show them the paths, you build the trust, you build the authenticity, and then you show them the problem, and then you show them the solution. Then at that point, people would be like, okay, you know what? For this, and then you make an offer that is like super, super interesting and makes it absolute no-brainer, especially where you have to spend like far lesser time, almost like no time you can get from point A to point B. People just pay for it happily. That's exact blueprint I have followed for every single product I have sold. Like every single dollar worth of products, it's the same story.
Brilliant. So in the previous question, we talked about obviously you building the bridge between SaaS founders and the SMBs. Are we right in thinking that's now evolved into you're just doing SaaS consulting for the founders to help them get from A to B, or are you doing both at the same time? Just want to be crystal clear
Yep.
on exactly kind of where you fit.
Definitely. So when we started, right? So there has to be a way where you have to make like every single activity a win-win-win scenario. I used to work with like broke founders, literally, because like that's a bit of a story here, right? I mean, this is gonna be like a bit personal, but I'm happy to share this for you.
Let's go.
Yeah. So then I quit my day job, right? I mean, me and my wife, we both decided to quit our day jobs the same week. And we both were like breadwinners of the family. And I had to take care of my parents as well. So, and once we decided to quit the day job and we wanted to, the skills that we both had is like digital marketing. Both of us have been into digital marketing and SEO and email marketing for like quite a long time. So together we already had like a combined experience of over 15 years. And once we got in the Wild West, so we tried to sell our services. We pitched to every single business owner out there, and then we found like since we already had a bit of background in the software industry, we thought that selling to software founders would be like much easier because we know how industry works. And we tried pitching to like multiple SaaS founders. So when we reached out to them, and then like we have been like telling him, hey guys, we can help you with this, we can help you with that. And one of the founders during the call, they asked like, okay, where are you guys based? I said like, I'm from India. I said like, okay, and how much do you charge? So we back then in 2015, I said like 2016, I think. So I said like it's gonna cost you like $350 per month. That's it for on pages and then taking care of that and all those things. And he called me a scammer. He said like you are from India, so you're basically scamming me or doing nothing because SEO was nothing. And there is like no magic you can create for just paying that much. So you're basically trying to scam me. So that shook me up because I had experience, I had expertise, I can prove it. But then like my expertise was more in the corporate world, which I'm gonna take out or mention their names for obvious reasons, right? So that shook me up. And I felt like, okay, that is something that's like terribly wrong, the way I am approaching and trying to sell my services. That's the day I started to hate selling. From that moment, I and my wife, we decided, okay, from this moment, whatever it takes, I'm just not going to try and sell anything to anyone, no matter what, right? So instead, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach out to every single SaaS product out there that's coming across me. I mean, like any product that I come across on like different directories, product and beta list and whatnot, right? And from Googling, whenever I see a product, I'm going to reach out to the founder. I'm going to jump on a call with them, consulting call with them, and I just want to give a free value, nothing, $0. So whatever it takes, I have experience in marketing, and I know like a lot of these stuff founders are struggling because they don't have marketing background. Most of them are like builders, right? Now I want to jump on a call with them. I want to give tons of free values, so much that they would want to pay me, even if I'm not going to be sending the invoice to anyone. And that's what I did. So initially there was a bit of hesitation. Some founders said like, guys, I don't think that we can offer like consulting right now because we are broke, we are like bootstrapped. I have heard this over and over and over like so many times. That's when we thought we should iterate this furthermore. And now let's do it that way. So we started doing like, hey, we send email, which clearly mentioning that email or the intercom chat everywhere. We said like, hey, you know what? We are doing this for free because we just love your product. I'm just giving it back to the community. Let's hop on a call and I will show you a couple of spots, probably like you should be like making more money, or should be getting more users, or you should be getting more referrals. There are spots where you have left too many spots to make more leads or revenue. That's what I said. And founders were interested. I got them curious and I started doing these calls. So between 2016 to 2017, I made like 1,000 plus free consultation calls. Every single day, I used to jump on calls, and each call lasted anywhere between like 30 to 45 minutes on an average. So I mean, some calls were 15 minutes, some calls were like 2 hours. So, but nevertheless, I had calls. I mean, like I was in India and I had called with someone from Brisbane. So, which means I need to wake up at like 2:30 in the night. So I used to go to bed at like, I mean, I used to have calls with someone from New York at like 11:30 in the night. I go to bed like 12:30. I wake up at 2 so that I can prepare for the call at 2:30. And then I had this call until 4:30. I went to bed, and then I had a call from someone from Singapore at like 7 a.m. in the morning. I did that again. So this again and again and again, I did like, it was kind of like second nature for me. It was a crazy hustle. And after a certain point, like after like doing this for like 3 months continuously, almost without pay, I was going broke. I said like, no matter what, someone just called me a scammer just because I'm trying to sell my experience and expertise. That's something like a groundbreaking for me. No way I'm getting paid or sending invoice to anyone. And then after 3 months of such a hustle, uh, some founders started asking me like, Sampath, you know what, the calls that we had back then, we are starting to see the results. Can we hop on the call? This time we are happy to pay you. That started coming back. So, and then I said like, okay, this is good, this is interesting, but then like there has to be a way to build a continuity from here onwards, right? At the same time, I don't want to put on a monthly return or something. So let's figure out something else. So we started hopping on a call, and then we started working out like a super special deal for each and every product initially. So these founders are broke, which means that they cannot pay retainers, but they're happy to pay a consulting call with me. So what we did is like we did a fixed fee for the calls plus a revenue share from the sales they are going to be making with the help of marketing that I and my wife we both have to do for their product. And that's how it started. So initially we started working out like a super exclusive deals for those products, and we started promoting it to all the user base I have. I mean, like we started building like a newsletter meanwhile, where we have been sending out emails like, hey guys, you know what? This week we have been talking to this founder. This product does yes XYZ things. This is amazing. You should check it out. We started sending out newsletters like that, and we have had like around like 3,000, 4,000 subscribers back then. And founders were happy to pay a revenue share for promoting the product to our newsletter base. So we did two things together. One, we added like tons of value. Two, we started building a distribution together. So now founders are going to pay me for my time plus a percentage share for all the revenue that's going to come from my distribution channels. So that's how it started. So, and then when we started working out with like broke SaaS founders, they were like super happy. They were like extremely happy. And then slowly from there, the shift started changing. A shift started happening. So when some founders like they had money and then they're like, Sampath, I don't want to offer like such a great deal because like the deals you're offering are like insane. Because this is like for product that's in the early stages or product that's like who have no clue of how to market. That makes sense. But then like I have a well-established product, but then I really need your help. At the same time, now I don't want to pay like a revenue share, but then we are happy to discuss like what are the consulting that you want to do. Why not? Let's do that. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you when, and in return, I'm making money, and I'm also getting like a goodwill. In terms of like you're going to make reference to someone else. It's all a win-win-win scenario. That's well and good. Let's do it. So that's how the consulting wing slowly started.
Well, thanks for sharing that story. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
The first thing is I'm kind of you must be grateful looking back now that that person said that to you, because what you've come across, I'm just, the bit that's got kind of our business off the ground. I'm reading The Founder Brand by Dave Gerhardt,
Wonderful
with
book.
Drift before, yes, 8 months, 8 months, something like that. Like they didn't, say anything about their product. They hadn't built the product. It was just value, value,
Yeah.
value, value, build goodwill. And that's what you did. You gave, and the thing is, because you already had the expertise by that point, it was just a grind, but it was, you had the value to back it up. And then that obviously got you traction. And then obviously now, I guess you were helping broke SaaS companies starting from zero then. Do you still help SaaS companies starting from zero now, or do they need to be kind of at a minimum ARR level? And I just guess interested to hear the process you do into taking them from where they are now and what revenue they're at to 1 million ARR, 5 million, wherever they get to, and then kind of timescales and things like that as well. A lot of question in there, but would love to hear your take on that.
So we certainly do work with like companies who are in super early stages because like that's how we have grown as well. However, our structure has changed. Like I mean, I used to do like tons of calls upfront, and then we move on to the next calls, and then like we started working closely with them, one-on-one with them. So, but then now, like considering how the market landscape has changed, right? People want results faster. So there are like two reasons why we have slowly started to change to how we used to work versus how we are working today, right? So when we started working, it was like not too many products out there when compared to today. I mean, like there were still like a lot of products, but not as many as it is today. So and the people have had like more commitments towards building their products, but then nowadays there is like a lot of side projects. So working purely on the revenue based sharing relationship just don't work anymore for the products. I mean, so we do work with like in terms of like a group coaching and group mentoring for products who are in early stages. We do that. We have recently started doing that. Like and we also have a 3 days revenue breakthrough challenge coming up. So which is something we specifically built for products that are doing like a less than 100K ARR, like 0 to 100K ARR. If you're not even getting to like 10K MRR, you should totally take up the challenge, because in 3 days we just show exactly how exactly you can generate like unlimited leads, literally unlimited leads, and two, how you can turn those leads into revenue, and three, how you can turn those revenue into a higher LTV or recurring revenue, and so on and on. So that's what we do, because that's totally packaged from all the sales we have made, all the $17.2 million worth of sales that we have made. We packaged it into like 3 days challenge, because that's something like super easy to implement. And if you're serious about your product, you're going to take up the challenge, you're going to do it, right? And if you're not, that's up to you. I cannot force you that you should be doing this, right? So that basically shows their passion that people will have. And if we could make an impact, if we could bring like 10 solid products, that's going to have an impact of 100 different business professionals to grow their business faster, then we are going to be happy. That's like good karma everywhere. That's what we are focused on.
What I like about your strategy as well is like you're making a no-brainer offer to people who maybe are making like 10K MRR and they're like, God, we've got to grab this. There's a lot of value here. And then I imagine some of those people, as they then implement your advice and go up and go up and go up, they then stay on with you because they've seen value with you. So you're kind of getting them in low and then on the back end keeping them because they're going up and up, and it's because of yourselves. So many SaaS consultants give founders like a 50-page strategy document, and it just starts to, gather dust in the drawer. And obviously you're a little bit different. What would you say makes you different from those kind of consultants, and what's your unfair advantage?
Sure. So when I'm working with anyone, right, I prefer to keep things simple but not simpler. So there is a different version, right? I mean, most of the consulting firms, or like anyone consulting, so they do as for like LTV, CAC, and ABR score, and all those things. There is just so many acronyms that I would be focused on the acronyms and not on the thing that actually matters, which is revenue, right? Revenue and cash flow. Those are like simple terms. I prefer terms that are super simple, right? And the super long document that I can prepare and give it to you, but at the end of the day, if you cannot turn that into action, it means nothing. You're just paid something, and business should never be like a zero-sum game. So you pay me money, you should start seeing money in your bank. Quite simple, right? That's how I keep my business. So I have starting to work with companies where I show them a clear path of outcome. Hey guys, you're gonna come with me, you're gonna work with me. Then ideally means like in 90 days, 180 days, they're gonna get there, right? And I'm gonna tell you what exactly that needs to be done so that we can get there. Now let's go for an audit. Let's sit for like 4 hour session together. That's how it works. So we sit for ideally anywhere between 3 to 4 hour session to begin with. And then at the end of the session, because today we have like too many note takers that can do the job. But still, I prefer to ask my clients to come and sit with their notepad and pen. We will still have the AI to send us a summary, but nothing beats a good old notepad and pen. You're going to sit that. I mean, like, just for this podcast, I didn't have one, but then usually whenever I sit for a call, when I'm jumping on a call, I always have a pen and pen with me. So we are going to make notes for 4 hours. I love it. For 4 hours, we are going to be doing our detailed brainstorming session so that we could clearly see how are you going from point A to point B, and from on the way, what are the leaks that are there in your workflow, like there where you are leaving money on the table, right? That's all we are going to do. So once we fix these leaks, right, then you getting from say point A is like you are making like $10,000 MRR or $5,000 MRR, right? And point B is like you want to get like $20,000 MRR in the next 6 months, for example, right? And to get there, instead of getting there 6 months, maybe if you fix these leaks, you can get there in 3 months. How exactly we can achieve that? That's all we are going to do in this 4 hour session. And then at the end of the session, both of us are going to have a crystal clear strategic roadmap of where and what you have to do, right? Because if I'm going to give you like all the documents and everything I have done by myself, and then like you're going to have it, and then you're going to get started, then it's going to be like a bit of a nightmare. Like you would be like kind of at some point you'd be like, okay, Sampath has done some work, but then like I don't have time. I have other priorities coming in, so probably like I'm not going to be doing it. So maybe like I'll save it for later, and that later never happens. Whereas if we are going to sit for a call together and you are going to write this on a pen and paper, then it is guaranteed 100%. I would say like 200% guaranteed you're going to take action, because those words have come come from you, and you have written it on your own in your paper, right? And then we are going to together sit down and take a look at the notes, build a roadmap, and then get going. And I'm going to be with you to make sure that you are on the right track. And whatever happens, whether it's like that, you're going to have like, I mean, once we fix this, there is no guarantee that there's not going to be any bumps. There could still be bumps, but then I'm going to be there to hold on to you so that you can be assured that you have to take action, and I'm going to be there to push in the right direction so you make money. Simple. You pay me so that you take care of me, and I'm going to be here so I take care of you, and both of us make money, and we are going to help a lot of people make more money. Simple. That's how I keep it.
I love that. So point A, 5,000 MRR, 10,000 MRR. Point B could be 20,000 MRR, 6 months. And obviously, like I imagine every SaaS company has got different leaks. So when you're going through the discovery with them, you're trying to figure out what those different leaks are. And obviously they've probably got limited resources. So it could be like, they've got a great product, but there's no traffic. So they need to then, find out how they're going to do marketing and jam a lot of effort in there. But obviously you're the consulting side, you're the roadmap. How do you navigate kind of like, because obviously they might know what to do, but they might need to spend 6 months just posting on LinkedIn or just creating blog articles, and there's a lot of other factors and variables. So how do you navigate all of these constraints?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So when you have a time-bound goal, right, for whatsoever reason, maybe like you would be broke if you don't hit that goal next 6 months, right? Or you would want to raise funds, and then your current investors asked you that you should hit XYZ number so that they will be happy to pump in another set of round cash for whatever reason. Or you would want to have like more developers to join your team to build up better products and so on. So it could be like reason could be whatever, right? The very first step is to see how and why your current users are paying you, right? So if you have users, but then if you don't even have users, or if you're just brand new product, it's a different story. But nevertheless, either A, you have time to spend to try a little bit of marketing. I'm not saying like you have to post on LinkedIn every single day in and out, and you have to monitor, and that's the only way for you to get out, right? There is literally 100 different ways I can tell you how you can market your product. And at the end of the day, you have to take action. I can do it for you, but the challenge is like if you don't do it, then you would never know what's working for you. Right? And at some point, say our business relationship ends, I would be leaving you with like no clue of what happened. And the moment I leave you, you'll be like, okay, when Sampath was here, I was making money. Okay, I left. I have no clue what brings money and where my next customer is gonna coming in from. That's the reason like we have this consultant relationship thing where we don't do it for you. We work with you so that we show you exact paths where you can take action, right? And I also have my connections, my network from all the years of experience and expertise. So I can make some right introductions for you so that you can work on some cross promotions and work some upsells together. We can do some packages together, and I'll show you how to sell those. For example, we can organize like webinars and workshops where we can sell the products together. I'm going to give you the script, but at the end of the day, you have to act on the script, right? So it's going to be like tiny little bit of things that you still have to do. And I'm here to mentor. I'm not just here to be saying like, I'm not some corporate consultant where I'm going to tell you, hey, I've given you the strategy last week. Have you worked on it? Right? I'm going to be acting as your mentor, where I show you like, hey, this is what that you need to do, and do you have any challenges in doing that? Then let's figure out those challenges as well, and see we can have a viable solution of how we can make this happen, because this needs to happen so that we can get to the next step. So from A to B, it's not going to be a one story. It's going to be A1, A2, A3, and then slowly it goes all the way to A24 for whatever reason, right? And then B. So I'm going to be there in each and every single step for you, and you will have different set of challenges. Some there is no users, some there is no time, some there is no money, and some there is like. But if you're going to say like I don't have a product, I cannot do anything, right? You need to have a product. So that's like basic, right? Because ideally we are selling a solution, and it's all about. I mean, trust me, I have done this like over and over hundreds of times, and only thing that matters in 99% of the times is how you package your product, is how people see your product. You're going to say like, hey, you know what? I have the world's best form builder. No one cares, right? Whereas if I'm going to say like, I'm going to go to a conference, a B2B conference, and I'm going to tell everyone like, hey, you know what? I have a HIPAA compliant form builder. No one cares. If you have a HIPAA compliant form builder, you are specifically targeting those people, then you should attend relevant conferences, not to B2B events, not SaaS events, right? So that is where most people I see are making mistakes. They package the product in a very wrong way because they are super close to the product. So whereas having worked with so many different products, I can say where exactly I can smell this from a mile away. I can see like, okay, these are the areas you are ideally having like great challenges. Let's fix that together. I'll show you how to fix. I'll fix like to some extent for you, but from there, I'm gonna hand over the baton to you. You have to keep running. That's how it works.
Yeah, I can. That's amazing. I can definitely see that you care as well, which definitely makes you different from other consultants. You're there along every step of the way. And the other thing you mentioned about how you package everything up, this is not just SaaS. This is like business principles. Is your offer, your positioning, and how you talk about yourself. Everything is downstream from that, and you need to detach yourself from the solution. And so that's something me and my business partner talk about a lot. But just back to yourself then. They come to you, point A, 5K, 10K MRR. I imagine it's founder-led sales, so they're having to go out there and get the sales themselves. Then are you helping them implement PLG? Are you sometimes like, this is a sales-led SaaS, this is hybrid? Is this part of the roadmap, and which one do you specialize in? Yeah, would love to hear more.
Yeah, I specialize in helping you to eliminate you from the process. So it could be PLJ, it could be SLD, it could be like whatever, right? The purpose here is to eliminate you from the process. I can step back, right? So that you don't have to work in the business, you can work on the business. That's a goal. From A to B, it's always that, right? You can still do it. Most people, most founders, business owners, like I've seen, like they are so attached to the business that you have built, because it's a baby. Treat like one. You get so emotional, you don't even want to detach yourself from that. I understand that. I have been there. Like I have built this business. I have seen ups, I have seen downs, and I have been like, just because I have been super attached to several activities, I could not even step away from that. Even if I have hired a person to do the job, I still go check on them like every hour. That's something that I have paid almost like $50,000 to a coach to learn that. I need to learn to detach myself from what I'm playing. So unless and until I do that, I won't be able to gear up to next level. It's universally applicable, right? No matter what, I'm going to be showing you how you can build a process so that you can detach yourself. And when you do that, right, there could be some challenges. I'm going to bring you the solution of how we can tackle those challenges so that we can take a step back. Now, what happens is like when you detach yourself from that's like a huge process, right? So, whereas imagine it's like a huge mission, right? Now you are playing this part, which means the entire mission is not operating. It's just a small dial is just being operated because that's you. Now I'm going to take you out of this dial. I'm going to move you to the next dial, right? Now we are going to sit together and then make this dial keep running. And then you're going to operate the next dial. What happens is like together, we can easily move the third dial automatically. And then that's how you can take the entire mission to keep running. So of course, the size of the dial may vary depending on your revenue stage, but ideally that's a plan. So be it a PLG, be it SLG, but ideally PLG is where you can keep this. I mean, you can get it running really, really fast because the product is going to do the job for you.
We're going to talk about your take on hockey stack growth in a little bit, but it sounds like from what you're saying is they're in the blade at the moment, and you're that inflection point that kind of gets them, removes them from the business, and then takes them on the growth trajectory. But we'll talk about whether that's true or not in a little bit. I just want to ask a quick question on can you share a company that started from zero when they came to you and walk us through how they hit 1 million ARR? What did you see that they couldn't see?
Okay. So for one, the faith I had in the product, the unshakable faith. So considering that I have had like tons of experience in this, I have seen like a lot of products. I can tell like almost like most of the products like you're gonna grow, you're gonna fail. I can tell in like just 10 minutes of my conversation with like most founders. I'm not saying every founder, with most founders. Because and that is this one particular product. For obvious reasons, I don't want to mention their name, but then like because they are so good, and the founder is like one of the most nicest guys in the world out there. And when I was talking to him, he did not disclose that they are going broke, right? And during my conversation, I have seen like he is one of the developers, one of the two developers, and the other person has a day job, but in this is his full time. And he is like extremely passionate about what he has built. But then he didn't tell me like he was broke. So but he put a leap of faith in me. I said, like, see, I understand that you have built such a nice product, and I know the world needs it. There is not many products like this out there. Even if that is, it doesn't matter because, like, the way you have explained each and every feature, I can totally see how you have put customers in your mind when you're building these features. That's the way I say it. So when I say it, you are 100% focused on customers, which are customers, clients, paying users. So which means there is absolutely no reason why you should fail. I'm not going to let you fail. Come, let's work together. That was my proposal to him. He was a bit hesitant. He was like 50-50 here and there. And then we started working together. And I devised like a launch strategy for a GTM strategy for the product. And what we did is like during the GTM strategy, when we were working out, we figured that the ICP they had in their mind is like super tiny. So for example, they were heavily focusing on small business owners like florists, coffee shop owners, and all those things. That was their ICP, right? And they were trying to sell the product. So ideally, it's a product that helps you connect online with offline. And then during my work with them, I figured out like during the 4 hour session I told you earlier. So during all those things, I figured out like, okay, now I see where exactly is the problem. Let's redefine the ICP and then repackage your product. So now we have redefined the ICP based on one interesting find, which is like most of these small business owners, they don't have time in the world to do marketing by themselves for their business. They outsource the marketing to small digital marketing agencies out there, right? Now, instead of focusing, trying to sell to this business one by one, it's focused on packaging your product specifically for those agencies so that they bring a bunch of business together. For example, every single marketing agency that we close, they are going to be like anywhere between like 10 to 50 clients are going to be starting to use your product. That's like a massive boost. Let's repackage your product accordingly. We did repackaging. I mean, when we launched initially, the first week it failed because like founder was like a bit hesitant to repackage and all those things. I said like, we have to do this. If we don't do this, it's going to fail. And that's what happened in like 7 days. It failed. I told him like, it's absolutely fine. Let's take a step back. Let's rework on this a couple of weeks. And then we are going to bring it back. We are going to devise a new strategy. We are going to bring it back. And then we are going to launch it. That's what we did. And guess what? We brought it back after like brought it back. I mean, like, made a new launch. We organized like a webinar. We did a workshop together. yeah, inviting just the agencies, and they saw insane value in this. We showed them how you can make more money with this product and how your users, your clients are going to be super happy because you use this product for them. What's in it for you? What's in it for them? We showed them that, and they were like super happy. And guess what? In 3 weeks' time, we sold products worth like $65,000 out of nowhere, out of nowhere. So, and just to give a comparison, the first week we made $1,000. That's it. That's all we made. In the first entire 7 days, we made $1,000. Took a step back, we came back, we made like $65,000. 6 months from there, we made like $250,000. And 18 months from there, they hit like $1 million ARR. And
Wow.
yeah, and then I met this founder 4 years later at a different event in Lisbon. He said like, Sampath, I mean, like, it was a massive crowd. Lisbon at Web Summit, it was a super massive crowd of 60,000 people. Among 60,000 people, somehow we managed to meet each other. So, and he said like, Sampath, I want to tell you something. I have not told you, or not, I haven't told this to anyone ever, and probably I would never. So I said like, okay, I'm all ears. Tell me. Remember the day when you proposed that we should work together, and I was a bit hesitant, right? Yeah, I remember. That day, I had like $500 in my pocket. I was just 1 week away from going broke and shutting down this product. I know I have built such a nice product, but then I don't even know how to take it to the market. I don't know how people are going to be perceiving my product. And I wouldn't have, I mean, this product wouldn't exist today if we had not had that call 4 years back. I mean, like, both of us literally had goosebumps when we were having the conversation. I said, like, okay, that's amazing story. Thank you for sharing with me. That basically shows the kind of trust you have in me. Thanks for sharing. How are you doing today? I said, like, we are doing like $3.5 million ARR, and we have a team of 21 across 4 continents. And it all started with SaaS Mantra. I live for stories like that. That is what drives me every single day.
And what's even better is, you didn't help them go from say 500k MRR to you help them go from nothing. And like you say, it was exactly $200 away from nothing. And and the problem was they had the skills, they had kind of the inner workings of the product. You just needed to figure out the ICP, do some tweaking, and then repackage everything up, and then find a way to go to market. And it's not just that you did the webinar with them. You took the step back. There's a lot of other things. It's the whole marketing side. That's a fantastic story. Again, there's so many questions to get through. I'm gonna have to just move on. Most SaaS founders think they need to build more features to grow. What's your take on that?
I'll keep it simple. You need to have a functional product, right? That probably does like 1 or 2 features max. That probably get the results for 1 or 2 things. But the product needs to be functional, perfectly functional. Of course, like those 2 features need to be like working flawlessly and solves pressing pain point. I mean, like I would say like insomniac pain points for the users, like problems that are keeping your ideal user awake at like 2 a.m. in the night. If you have that problem and you have that solution for the problem, then you're set. You don't have to worry. So building more features are going to be like bringing more users. Users probably, money not necessarily. I know like there is a product called Auto Shots, right? I haven't seen a single change on their homepage or like whatever. I have been following their journey since they had like hit like 400k ARR or something. Today they make like over $1.4 million ARR, and the product does like one thing. It's going to help you create automated videos for your YouTube channel. That's it. It's quite simple, straightforward, one product, zero glitch. You can just take a test and take it for a spin. It's going to create like one video for you. You can see how the output is. It creates everything for you. I just need to pay you. It's a plug and play, and that's it. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. So more features. I mean, I haven't seen like they are building like more and more features. Even now, I mean, like with the recent policies from Google, from YouTube a couple of days back, they might want to change the strategy a bit. But then like for like almost a year, I haven't seen them adding like too many features here and there. It's just like one solid product does one simple thing for one specific. There's always like OPOS, I call it. One product, one problem, one solution. That's it. As long as you have it, you're going to start making money. You just need to know how exactly you can package and deliver it. You'll make money. Simple.
It's so interesting that you say that, because it's like if you're really deep into the space and you've been using say cold outreach, for example, and you've been using a tool like Apollo, and you understand the data and your database, and you understand all the flows and the automations and all that stuff. For you, features become quite important. But when you're trying to capture new people that actually don't have all of that knowledge, it's just the 1 or 2 things that can get them started, that can kind of get the ball rolling. Like, can I send an automated connection request and then a chat after. And for me, Lemlist was that tool where I didn't really know that much. I just needed a database. I needed a simple UI. Apollo was, and I had this pain point of everything so complicated. I went over to Lemlist, and now I've leveled up in that game. I've now got loyalty with Lemlist. They've added more features. So it's like just find out that core couple of features that, like you say, solves those insomniac problems. I love that. I'm going to start using that word, insomniac problems. But so many SaaS founders are chasing that hockey stick growth. We said we get onto this question. Do you think that's still relevant in 2025?
It depends on how you're going to have a hockey stick growth. Like you have launched a product today and then you want to have hockey stick growth from point A to point E, for instance, right? You want to have a growth like this. That's absolutely fine. You can have like a wonderful growth. And what matters is like you're not going to be focused on getting to E. You still have to go through the B, C, D, and then you can get to E, right? You should start enjoying the process of how things work. There is a structure, there is a fundamental thing that is never going to change. No AI is ever going to change that. For instance, like you need to have your own supply of like protein, some carbs, some vitamins, some minerals for your body every single day, right? Even in the year 2900 BC, right? It's not going to change. You still have your own metabolism to be taken care of. That is never going to change. It's kind of the same for any business as well, especially for SaaS. So all you need to focus is like you need to have product and you need to have an audience. And as long as you have an audience who has a dying need for your product, you can have those projections. You can have those whatever goal it is. Like, hey, let me tell you an example. Like a year ago, I had a call with one of the founders. Right? I said like, Sampath, we are like 3 weeks away from launch. I said like, okay, that's amazing. And what does your product do? He said like A, B, C, D, E, and F. I said like, okay. And what's your goal? The launch. He said like, we want to make $100,000 ARR to begin with on the launch day, on the launch week. I said like, okay, that's nice aspiring goal. And how big is your audience and what's your go-to-market strategy and what's your plan? What is your plan of action and where do you need my help? I'm just trying to understand. He said like, I have like almost like 150 people in my wait list and our plans starts at like $99 per month. So if we get like 100 people out of 150 people to buy the product, then we'll hit like 100K ARR very quickly. I said, yes, that is very aspiring, but can you convert that? Do you know that these 150 people have a dying need for your product? How often are you going to have or how often you have been having this communication with them? Are they warmed up? Are they super ready? Have you tried collecting at least $1 from them to be on your list? Is that like, no? Quite simple. Because years ago, when I started in 2016, I had a chat with the founder who had 10,700 people in his email list, in his mailing list, gearing up for his launch. And this was almost like a decade ago. He had like 10,000 plus people. And on the day of launch, his lowest plan was $17 per month and $15 per month if paid annually. And out of 10,700 plus people, Joe, do you want to take a guess of how many people have converted?
I would say let's go 500.
Just three. And those three have churned in the next 15 days. They said like, okay, maybe like there are better tools out there. I don't want to pay. So that is exactly the revenue gap between you are building your audience and you're getting them to pay. There is a gap between the two, right? You need to have to fix the gap so that you can have an aspiring solution, be it hockey stick growth, be it like very naive goal, be it whatever, right? You always have a gap. You need to fix the gap. So then whatever goal you have, you would be able to accomplish it. So hockey stick growth is fantastic. A to B is fantastic. Or even if you want to get to A to Z, is also fantastic as long as you have crystal clear plans and you have fixed all your gaps in between. Have you done that? Have you done the research to that? Have you done like auditing? Have you gotten like people to get the wallets out and be ready for that? Have you warmed them up? And how are you going to be launching it when the day comes? When the big day comes, sending out an email newsletter and then saying like, hey, I'm going to be having a glass of champagne because I have sent an email and now I'm going to see the money coming in. Never ever fall for that, because we are officially in an era where people don't even have time. The moment your email lands up, right? Even if I'm well warmed up audience, say I'm one of the audience where there's going to be like wonderful Zoom alternative at like throwaway price, and I just received an email from the founder saying that, hey, launch price, blah blah this, blah blah that. I'm going to be scrolling to that. And now when I'm about to click the link, ding, there is a notification comes in my WhatsApp. I'm going to jump onto that. I won't even remember what was the conversation I was reading earlier, right? So that WhatsApp notification could be from one of my friend who says like, hey, Sampath, can you meet? I'm on the way and remember our plan to meet. So we are going to have get together, blah, blah, this. That's it. I don't even remember anything else and just moved there, which means the momentum is lost already. We are officially in that era. No matter what, you cannot get the time back. So sending an email and expecting like people would pay you happily, that is gone. So you need to have like a very nicely warmed up audience. You need to be able to see people, talk to people, get people on board, get people to be on the same level with you. That's when people will pay you. That's when people have to trust you. They have to see you as an authority. That is the way people will want to stick with you, not the other way around. People just don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I love that answer. So it's if people are thinking if they've got in their mind, they need to again they're getting too attached to the outcome. They need to come back. Like you see this all the time. You see people with big follower accounts, but they've got low engagement because maybe they're not giving value. But then you've got people with high follower accounts and high engagement, but they've not got. But it's like not it's not great engagement. It's like congratulations or this, and it's not like based on the value. Like there's this goodwill meter that's kind of coming up and down, and you need the goodwill to be high to convert people. They need to be the right following, not kind of the wrong following. There's all these things that need to kind of be in place to
Exactly.
then all this value given over time, value, goodwill going up, to then go, oh guys, we haven't asked for anything before, and you've got trust, and now we're going to make it. If you are interested in the stuff we talk about, I know this book is just so fascinating because they started out targeting product marketers, giving loads of value to product marketers, and say, oh, by the way, we've got a tool for product marketers, which is obviously a chat on the website. But it's so much effort to get to the point where you can convert people. So,
Yes. And
and
here's
that's what you're helping them with.
Yep. And here's a funny story. Like when I started to offer the free consulting calls, right? So back in 2015, 2016. So Drift was a new product in the market back then. I didn't know who I was hitting. Like I had a call with David Cancel, the founder of Drift, in one of those calls, and I was telling him how to go with like go-to-market strategy. I was telling him that. He was like super naive and pleasant. He was like eagerly listening to me, and they're like, Sampath, that was a nice call, thank you. He was like super down to earth. So I have tried pitching to like founder of Shopify, founder of Drift, and even I remember sending emails to like Dharma from HubSpot. So all those great guys, because I mean, like I didn't have to worry about anything because I was here to just to provide value, and I had calls with guys from co-founders of BuiltWith and one of the co-founders of Crisp. It was a crazy. I even tried pitching to like Intercom, everyone, literally everyone under the sky. I was just sending emails, and I also tried to get on a call with Nathan Berry. I did have a call with Nathan Berry via one other founder. So it was just crazy. But as long as you're going to be like fully focused on how you can provide value, because like, say, remember, we are having this podcast for almost like an hour now, right? This hour is like, even if you're going to make like $1 million for every second from here onwards, you cannot get the hour that we have spent together, right? So you cannot even buy 1 minute back. And so ideally, the time you're going to be spending with me should be like super valuable for you as well as for me. And that's all you need to be focused on when you're jumping on calls with anyone. And that was my high back then. Like I want to jump on calls. I want to talk to a lot of people. I want to hear a lot of people. I want to give value to a lot of people that I could. And that was my focus. So as long as you're going to be like extremely obsessed and super passionate about what you're doing, you'll be like unstoppable. I'm telling you. That's purely from experience. Otherwise, like a person who almost had like $500 in the bank account, I have sold like $17 million worth of products in the next 8 years.
It's crazy. I want to keep this on you because this is full of so many gems. But one of the things you said really hits home because in order to kind of get things off the ground, really had to retrain. I'm here to give. I don't need anything from anyone. I just give, just take. I want to help you, and then you start to really love the giving process. But now, I was speaking to someone, and they're saying, Joe, there's a value exchange that you can't just give to people and then not that you have to. So it's kind of now it's like weird because it's. No, there is a value exchange, and it's funny. But anyway, turn it back onto yourself. So many founders think their pricing is too low, and so keep raising their prices to grow revenue. Is that the only way? And what's your recommendation?
There are so many different ways. Like before I get into that, here's a quick answer to that, right? There's a short answer and then long answer. Short answer is like, it's a mindset. So it's in the mind of when you don't have a lot of leads coming in, right? Or when you don't have like, who is your next customer? Where is your next customer is going to be coming in from? Then you would want to get the max out of your existing customer. You start to believe that that is the only way that you can make more money, right? So that's in your mindset. However, that's a short answer. For the long answer, so there are so many ways that SaaS companies don't make money or leave a lot of money. You can make money even before someone buying your product. That's one, right? You don't even have to sell your product. You can get people to pay you. And then comes, you're going to make money by selling your product. And then you can make money without raising your prices. You can upsell your product. And then you can make money by having like an inner circle for someone who wants to achieve more by using your product. They would want to get to the next level. As long as you can solve the pain points for this, for your ideal persona, level by level, you can make a lot of money, can get people to pay you more and more without having to increase the prices. So consider it's like a step-by-step thing, right? For instance, I'll tell you something about how we do at consulting and mentoring as well, right? So there is like a lot of founders, a lot of product builders out there who haven't made money, but they are passionate about what they're building, right? Now, I cannot sell my annual consulting program. Say, we are charging like 300K for a whole year, whereas we work more like a shadowing you, where we see what are the areas you are leaving the loopholes on how you can grow faster. So if I'm going to try and sell 300K consulting package to you, you instantly going to think, okay, SaaS Mantra is not for me, right? You're going to leave away. At the same time, I need to have an entry point for you so that I can bring you in so that you can come work with us. You can see how exactly you're going to start making money with us, and then you'd want to level up, or you want to now after you get like 10K MRR, right, you will have different set of challenges. Now my entry point is going to be like, say, $100 or you pay us one time, there's just $100 fee, you're going to get in. Anyone can spend $100 to learn something of how they can make money. Easy, right? It's like no brainer. You get in on $100. Now when you get like $10,000 MRR, there's going to be like another program that we have which will help you or show you how you can get from $10,000 MRR to $30,000 MRR in far lesser time than you can do it on your own, right? And this program is going to cost you $5,000 one time. You're going to be happy. Okay, that's like no brainer. That's like just half of what I'm making today. I'll pay so that I can get that faster. At $30,000 MRR, I'm going to show you how exactly you can get to like $1 million ARR in like super fast. I mean, like next 6 months in the R. That's something that you can implement and definitely grow within like next 6 to 12 months, right? It's like entire package, entire program, and this is going to cost you $30,000. Now you are making $30,000 MRR. $30,000 is a no-brainer. You'll just pay it. You'll take it. Precisely, right? But just because I can show you how to get to $1 million ARR, I cannot. I expect everyone to pay $30,000 to get in. That is how the flow works. You need to have an entry point. You cannot keep changing that and expecting people to pay you more and more unless you are already corporate, where you are dictated by your investors or VC firms on how you should operate. That's a different story, right? And I'd never probably would never have to get into that kind of story yet because I'm more of a people person. So you should always have an entry point. Don't ever keep changing that, playing around with it. Get a lot of people to come work with you, help as much people as you could. And then like when they are leveling up, be there. I mean, like become more competent so that you can help people at like different levels. That's how you make more money.
And the thing I'm noticing about you, because I also feel the same about SaaS, is like you love it, you love what you do, and so it's, and I think this is why that's an important thing. Is if you're passionate, then it doesn't feel like work. I won't get back when I back like a year, maybe a couple of years ago. Mine's gone a bit blank, but I spent like all the money I had into a coaching program, and a lot of the and I've heard a lot of other coaches, and they're just like charge really really high, charge really high, and I actually think it didn't fit, it didn't sit right, and I actually think that, are we just going to end up charging massive amounts of money to big companies and then letting them down? Is that really the way to go, or can we help other founders by selling them small packages of our time to give them the right injection, right bit of knowledge they need at that moment, and then what you've done is you've given them value, that you've earned their trust, and then as they scale, because you're good at what you do and it actually works, you then like you're saying, you're upselling. And I've been thinking about this a lot, and I just think it's only something you can do if you love what you do, right? And you
Yeah.
can deliver results. And if you can't, then yeah, I love that. I really really love that. So
Would you like an analogy for that?
the next,
I'll give you like a really nice
yeah,
analogy, right? So when you're feeling sick, right? When you're feeling like unwell, you're feeling under the weather, right? And if I'm telling you to go to a hospital, you would most likely not. You would want to get like some pills across the counter and you would want to try that out, right? You know why? Because naturally you are born with the idea or like the thought that when you go to a hospital, they're going to ask you to take so many tests that it's going to shoot up your bills, right? For no reason, even though you believe it's like it's just a simple flu, right? But then there's going to be so many tests, your costs are going to higher, and you are definitely going to be like uh, pay a higher insurance next year, next month, and you don't want that to happen. You would rather get like some pills, over the counter pills, you get it, and then you'll be fine in a couple of days. And of course, like you also trust yourself that you'll get better, right? Now, what if there is a physician who's going to charge you like far lesser? Say that physician is going to cost you like charge you like only $100, no matter how sick you are. I'm going to charge you only bucks, and I'll also give you the medicines. And I guarantee you that you will get better in a couple of days max. And no test required, no matter what. So, would you go to this physician, or would you still focus on getting the over-counter medicines? What would that be?
You would go for the simpler, the better, the easier, the less intense solution, right?
Exactly, exactly. So as long as there is going to be like someone who can help you, and who is knowledgeable, and they are also not going to charge you much, then that is a place where the people go to. So there is like no point in getting people to spend a lot even to get access to something simpler. People are definitely going to be hating that. So never ever do that mistake. Be the people's person all the time, and that pays you really well.
Simple, not simpler. I
Yep.
like it, and loving what you do. Um, I love that. Love that analogy. Thank you. So the next question then, there are a lot of SaaS companies out there that spend their marketing budget inefficiently, and sometimes they default straight to, let's spend more rather than spending better. What are the three things they're doing wrong that's drying up their marketing budgets?
So to begin with, the answer is like this is going to be like a hard pill to swallow for anyone who's going to be listening this. The reason that most people, most companies are spending a lot on marketing is because someone tells them to. So they don't do it on their own, right? Because they believe like some experts who tell them to, or their internal team, they tell them to, because they believe spending more is the only way that you can get the marketing out. I'm not denying that you have to spend more, but then like, is the ratio right? Are you making as much as that you're spending? For example, recently in the F1 movie, Expensify have spent $40 million to be on the brand, right? But then the entire world knows about Expensify. That's a good trade-off, right? Spending that with a clear ROI, that's good. You can spend more. You can spend as much as you want. But I'm going to keep on spending more, and that is the only way I can get the marketing done. That's substantially wrong. It's wrong at any level and at all levels, right? If you don't have a clear path to revenue for every dollar that goes out of your pocket, how it's going to come back to your pocket? If you don't have a clear path, don't spend. Be it organic, be it paid, whatever it is. Hey, I'm going to spending like $500 this week on ads. And I have seen like so many SaaS companies, I have seen them spending money on meta ads that is driving traffic to the homepage, which basically does nothing. I know a particular company, I'll tell you. So we worked with them, and we made like about like 120K during the launch with them in the span of like 4 weeks, I think. This was in 2019. And the product was fantastic. We are still doing like really well. They already had like over $1 million in funding. It's a beautiful SEO product, and all the customers loved it. And after a couple of years, I had a chat with one of those founders, asked them how they are doing. They said like they are testing out different marketing channels, and I asked them like paid, organic. He said like we tried paid, and we are never doing paid again. I was like, okay, what went wrong? I was naturally curious. He told me like we spent like over 250K euros in ads last year. So like, okay, that's like quite a good of spend. It's like almost like 20K euros every single month. And how's the output like? Joe, what do you think that they would have made from the spend of 250K euros in 1 year? How much do you think they would have made? They made loss, but how much do you think that they would have made? Go for
If
a
they
wild
let, let's
guess.
go for 100K.
They made zero.
Oh no.
They lost all the money. They lost all the money. And when I looked at the ads, I could tell that most of the traffic, or every single ad dollar that was spent, either to get them to download like a freebie, free lead magnet, or to download a white paper, or running ad traffic ads to their homepage of the website or to the pricing page. That's it, which is a huge flaw that almost every single SaaS company out there makes. Unless and until you have like tons of money and you're going to be running retargeting ads to your homepage, that is okay. But everyone thinks like sending a cold traffic to your homepage is like a super, I mean, like, I'm sorry to say this, but then it's like a stupid thing to do, because no one bothers, no one has time to go through like what is it that you have got to say. Everyone has their own priority. Even people who have no job, they have their own priorities, right? So you cannot expect anyone to take action just because you're running an ad. So you need to have an insane offer in place so that every single dollar you spend on ad then has to come back to you either as a lead or as a revenue. If you are bringing them as a lead, then you need to have a way of how you can take the lead to revenue. If you don't have that, never spend a single penny on marketing. That's how I would put it.
Yeah, it's a very like bootstrapped mindset, isn't it? Like every dollar has to be accounted for, because otherwise you might just and the other thing is say if you've just got a landing page, well, you probably need to drive some traffic to a landing page because that's the page you've got. But say if you're selling a software and you've got, it caters to one use case for HR teams, one for finance teams. You want them all. You want to kind of target each appropriately. They all go to the right page. It speaks their language. And like you're saying, you're either trying to get a lead out of it. Right at the bottom, you've got or maybe you've got a sign up form in there that gets the lead magnet. But there has to be a reason
Yep.
why you're doing what you're doing, not just drive traffic to our homepage. So
Yep.
I
Yep.
think that's a great bit of advice. Yeah.
And there's one more thing to it. So spending money on marketing is probably the easiest spend that you will ever do, honestly. Because like spending money on marketing is like absolute no-brainer, because you are, if you're not going to spending money, you're going to spending time, right? You're going to be investing time into this, right? Which is a lot more valuable than spending your money on this, right? If you want to have 100,000 people visiting your website, and I'm going to help you, ask you to devise a strategy, the easiest strategy is to spend money on ads. You can bring 100,000 people. That's fairly easy, right? What matters is how you're going to convert those people into money, or what percentage of that into money. That's all that matters. And then what you want them to do so they will pay you money. You need to have that strategy in place. You have a crystal clear path, and that's how things have to be done. Otherwise, like, you're actually bleeding a lot more if you're not spending, actually, just to be clear. So you're bleeding a lot more money. Say Expensify is going to spend like $40 million on like ads, events, conferences, and whatnot, right? They could have done that. Instead of doing all of that, they said like, okay, now Apple, here you go, take my money and bring me the exposure worldwide. That's what expensive. That's a smart investment. So it's I would say like when it comes to marketing, there is nothing called expending. It's like investing. Whether you are investing wisely or poorly, that's all that matters. You're investing with your time or money or both, but do it wisely.
The next question then, some SaaS founders obsess over the competition. What should they be looking at instead to give themselves a competitive advantage?
Sure. So, put in simple words, competition has always existed no matter what you do, because like now you're not competing with your industry or niche competitors. You are literally competing with everything that people are spending their time on, right? You're competing with like Netflix because people are spending time on Netflix and stuff like reading the content that you're publishing. People are spending time on Netflix and stuff. They are checking your emails where they can have a link to go ahead and buy whatever that your product you are selling, even if it's on a crazy discount. You're offering like 99% discount. People still don't have time to do that because they are busy partying or traveling, right? Or they have just mass unsubscribed or their emails without even checking yours. You are taking, if you think about competition, every single aspect that you're thinking of is a competition, right? So you cannot be doing that. What you can rather be focused on is like stay competitive and be more like a magnet where people would want to take a look at what is it that you have to offer. So that's the reason I always say like put people first. You're always people first. I mean, like HubSpot is a gigantic company, it's a huge company, but I still don't recognize that as that Mishra's company because I respect people. So I see people behind the companies, right? I mean, Drift is like massive company, but I still remember the call that I have with David Cancel like in 2016, right? That's how it works. That's how it always works. And years down the line, people who are watching this podcast, like after like 3 years, they'll still remember me and Joe who are having this great conversation, which is providing tons of value to people. So at the end of the day, it's all about like how you are connecting with people so that when you have something to say, people would want to listen to you. So be that company, be that brand So people, I mean, like there's a way that you can build a brand and you can also be like a people's magnet, and both of them works only slightly differently. As a person, you stand for people, you show respect to people, you have your own values. As a brand, you also have your own values, and along with that, you have like some immaterial things, for example, colors and things, so that people can have their emotions connected to your brand and so on. So that's pretty much it. But otherwise, like as long as you are gonna be like super friendly person who cares for other people, they're going to be connected to you. They're going to be wanting to hear to you no matter when you ask them. I'll give a simple example for this. Alex Hormozy is going to have his third book coming up, right, in like a couple of months, I think. Usually, Joe, from your experience, what date and time is good for a webinar, or what day of the week and time is good for a webinar to get
Good
like massive
question.
audience?
I would probably say Tuesday lunchtime or Thursday lunchtime, because that's when people who have a job might have like an hour window to tune in. But then it depends on who you're targeting. I'm not
Right.
sure. What's the answer?
Yeah. So from my experience, and I have done like over like 300 webinars easily. So from my experience, so if it's like a free webinar, then do it on like Tuesdays and Thursdays, ideally. If it's like a paid webinar, then you can do it like on whatever days. But you do webinars on the weekdays, right? I mean, I have tried doing webinar from Monday to Friday, almost every single hour of the day. And guess when Alex Arbozi has his webinar? It's on a Saturday. It's on a Saturday noon. Remember, everyone would want to spend their weekend doing whatever they love to do. Instead, Alex Armozi has the power to bring people in. He is like attracting everyone like a magnet. So people are going to be spending time hanging out with him virtually, canceling their appointments, right? Canceling their family time. And that is how you have to be a people person. Provide value, show you care, and show people how they can grow just by associating with you. So if a growth is guaranteed for you just by listening to what I have got to say, then you would always want to listen to what I have got to say, no matter what. Well, even if I'm gonna have like a ask you to jump on a call with me at like Sunday 9 p.m. in the night, you would still do it because you know when I'm jumping on a call with Sampath, I know that this guy is gonna give me like a lot of value that I can invest back into me and I'm gonna grow faster. That's all that matters. So don't focus on competition.
I love that answer so much. With like you say, with Hormozy, he talks about work at the week. Like he's built his whole brand off. You should be working at the weekend. So he doesn't want people to tune in who are half in it. He wants his tribe to tune in. But also something you say is, I spoke to a guy called Blake Impo, and he's head of marketing at like a bootstrap SaaS company. He talks about talking about marketing budgets, and he said 70 to 80% on like near term pipeline, which is what you were saying about investing in either leads or revenue when you're driving traffic. And then he says, look, you can have a little 20 to 30% on your longer tail stuff, maybe your longer things like SEO, podcasts, things that take longer. But he said 100% is brand, and that's kind of what you're. And we touched on brand. Well, you touched on brand, which is people. Your meeting with David Cancel was in 2016, but you remember how he made you feel. You're going to hop on a call. I'm going to remember how you made me feel. So if you ever need something, I'm going to respond. It's brand is that feeling, and you develop that feeling through interaction. So I say to my business partner, we just got to make sure that every single interaction we have, we're giving more value than we're taking. That's it. That's
Exactly.
it. And that's and that's what you're saying as well, which I love. So perfect. And I think we'll just on to the final questions now, because I don't want to take too much more time. We're an hour and a half in. Many SaaS founders end up chasing the next funding round instead of chasing their customers. So what's your take on this? What do you tell SaaS founders? You think more money, more funding is the answer? How do you lead them to the path of profitability instead?
So to begin with answering this question, it depends on like what you need the funds for. For example, not it's not the same thing, same story for everyone. Some people need fund so that they can hire like better resources to build a stronger product or like super awesome product to dominate the category, right? And some they would need the funding so that they can get some compliance because that is going to help them to win some enterprise contracts. Hey, this compliance is going to help me win like $1 million contract, but then this compliance is going to help is require $200,000 investment. I don't have that money in my hand. At the max, like even including my credit card overdraft and everything, I can scramble and I could get only like $50,000 right now. So apart from paying salaries and everything, so I need like funding right now. So there are different reasons, but then if you need funding just to operate your product, then there is like something terribly wrong with everything you do, right? Because at the end of the day, investors, they care about like only one thing: whether do you have a product that actually makes money, or do you have like clear ways of how you can gonna be like multiplying their investment value. They invest in so that your value is going to grow higher. There are so many companies out there who keep on posting the losses year after year after year after year, and still you see them raising like several rounds of funding every single year, like Series A this year, Series B in like just 6 months after, but then they have posted losses in between. That's all about like how much of the market value that you have, that at any moment you can turn that into a cash cow. You are building a cash cow. That's all that investors care. At the end of the day, they want their investment to be like a wise one, so that you're gonna have to make them feel like you made the best investment. You didn't put the money into a stock, into buying some other stock, right? You didn't invest your money into buying more of Zoom stock, top fish shares, right? Instead, you have chosen to invest in my company because you have seen the potential in my company. That's all you have to show. As long as you show that, investors are going to be happy. They will keep on pumping you more and more money. So investor stories, like it's an entirely different ballgame. I have been like on both the ends with bootstrap companies as well as like funded companies, and I've also worked with some founders to create like a kick-ass pitch deck where we have got like 500K worth of investment. The founder wanted to get like, he is willing to give away like 20% of his company to raise 500K, and I helped them get like 750K investment in exchange for 12% of the company. So we did the reverse, and that's because like I could read like what exactly the investor would want out of this, and that's all we need to focus on. Whereas in terms of your own company's growth, you need to have revenue generation machines. You need to have channels where you can turn into if you want to make more money. Simple. So your growth should be in your hands. You should be able to define that. If you want to raise money for different reasons, you keep that aside from how you are building your growth engines.
That's great. So what we're saying is there is a time when you might want to go down the funding route, but you shouldn't be making zero money and go straight to that. It's almost like you need to demonstrate that you're kind of profitable, you can turn over some money, and you can make a certain amount, and then you can go to them if you need to. But yeah, you shouldn't be looking for funding before you've got that revenue machine at least showing some ROI of some kind,
Yep.
which is interesting. And what's the one thing you tell a SaaS founder who's been stuck at the same revenue level for months, it's burning through their cash, and then they're starting to panic about their future?
This sounds more of a familiar story. I have seen this, like, I have heard such stories almost every month, every single month. I've heard like companies, founders I talk to, they say like, I'm just 1 month away from going broke. So, and most of the times that because like, I mean, not necessarily every single time it has to be like 100% true. Maybe like they're 3 months away. That's all I would say. And that mainly because like they don't keep track of their activity and how those activity are going to turn into asset or money or both, right? For example, say I could be like spending, say I'm sending out like cold emails every single day, and that's going to bring me some customers. Well and good, but that's an activity, and you're going to make like money out of that. You have to make money out of that. Otherwise, you're definitely not building an asset by sending cold emails, right? Whereas if you're going to be spending doing like workshops every single month, you're going to do like podcasts, you're going to build like distribution channels on your own, you're going to grow your newsletter. Those are your assets, right? You're going to build your brand, you're going to invest your time into that, not into that. Then most of the co-founders who have this panicking, it's mainly because like they don't have anything that they can rely on or invest into. They've been spending the time listening to what some of the bad coaches say, which is like, hey, send more emails, make more money. Yeah, but then no one cares. Like if you're not building asset, no one cares if you don't make money, even if you're sending actual common emails, because you naturally think that, hey, I'm not spending a lot of money by sending these emails, so that's okay. But then you're not making a lot of money either, right? Now the real challenge for them is like you need to have a way where you make money, you make asset, and invest into people or systems who can help you do both. If you're gonna do that, then you will never be broke. There's almost like 0% probability that you will be broke.
Right. What you're saying is make things dual purpose. And that's the thing with what's the big lever that pulls all the mini levers. And one thing I think about a lot is building a personal brand because it's content. What does content do? If you build enough trust and stuff, it can actually generate engagement signals from in-market buyers. That then translates to warm leads that you can then do outreach to and get higher. Then there's it also keeps you top of mind for out of market. Then there's, building the flywheel so that more energy now, but once you get it spinning, not as much energy later. Whereas you do cold approaches, you spend all that time with low response rates and stuff. And I'm not saying that there's no room for that, but when you're bootstrapped, it's about thinking about where to go. Cold isn't, for us, it's like, well, let's actually invest in content because we're getting leads, we can get the build the flywheel. Whereas cold, like I say, is just, once you stop the emails, like you say, it's back to zero. Same with ads. Once you've stopped the ads and you turn the taps off, it's back to zero. So it's figuring out the levers, and that's that's what you were saying. So
Yeah,
that's
ideally that has to be like a continuous flow, right? I mean, like this is something that I have seen in almost every single company because this is like a personal problem that we have faced as well. So there we have had like great months and we have had like super bad months. So when we started building out the business, and I initially believed like that's because I'm a first generation entrepreneur and I don't know things, and that's why like I'm having bad months. And then I paid coaches like six figures to understand this. They told me, they showed me this, and you're getting this. I mean, like everyone who's watching this, they're getting this for free. So there has to be a continuous flow in whatever you're doing because it's called cash flow for a reason. You need to have a way of how it flows. You need to show them, hey, this is how you flow, right? If you're going to have it broken in between, there is absolutely no way you can have it flow. It's called blood flow, right? If the blood flow stops, you die. It's pretty much the same for business. If the cash flow stops, you die. The business dies, right? So, what is the way and how are you building the path that you can have the revenue keep flowing? But most founders ignore that. They have a bunch of activities, bunch of tasks, and they think like, hey, you know what? I have done a lot. Now I should be making money. No, it doesn't work like that. It should work in a way. You have a point A, things are coming here, it stops here, right? And then you have another bunch of activities start from here, goes here. Your money is on its way and it has been lost. It has gone into the sinkhole and you have no clue. You're building like another path, another stream here, and that's going to stop somewhere else, right? And then you are standing here expecting the money to come to you. It won't happen. No matter what you do, it just won't happen.
Yeah, hope is not a strategy. And I love that analogy about it being like similar to your body. Like but you need to keep that blood flowing. When we were doing a design business, one of the big problems with it was, branding a website. Well, you know, the best thing that I can do for people is to make it project based, because I'd say to people, you don't need to pay me this continuous fee after I built your website. What we can do is I do your logo, I do your website, I hand it off to you, and me then best serving your interests. Actually, you don't need me, and you just need to pay your hosting, and then in 6 months, a year, you've got some new projects, you might want a couple of extra pages, come back to me. But what that means is it's very much like we focus on especially if you're a solo, you focus on that side, and it's like, I've got no clients now, right? Back on it, and the blood just stops and starts and stops. And so it was very much like, how do we turn this into a design subscription, which is why design subscription exists. It's very much solution led. It's not how can I best serve clients. Graphic designers, I think, is more of an ongoing thing because you can make infographics on posts and things like that. But with branding and web design, it's really project based. So that's something I noticed, and you're right. It's how can we create something that gives people, and that ties all the way back into what you do, which is let's start by helping 5K, 10K MRR with, can they spend $100? Can we then get them to the next level? And then you've kept them. You've got that trust, you've got that loyalty, and the blood is just, you're pumping faster and faster and faster. So yeah, it's all come
I'm a
back.
revenue doctor.
Sorry, you're a revenue doctor.
I'm a revenue doctor.
I love it. You need to get your P on the back of your wall.
Yeah, someday soon. I do have like two
Yeah.
MBAs, but I don't have a PhD yet.
We're gonna have to call you doctor.
Yeah.
That's it. So final question then, because I want to be respectful of your time. For someone listening right now thinking, I need to work with Sampath, I need to work with this guy, what's the best way to reach you?
So I'll give you like, here's the best route. So before we have a chat, right? I'm going to give you a link which will help you to assess your revenue, your cash flow, so that you can completely take the assessment on your own. I'm a doctor, right? So I'm going to give you an assessment that you can do it on your own. And then at the end of the assessment, you will know where you stand. And from there, I'm going to send an email to you.
Sampath, thank you very much for coming on the podcast today. Thoroughly enjoyed our conversation when we met at TechPon back in June, but enjoyed today even more so. It was great. And genuinely excited to see what happens with SaaS Mantra and yourself going forward. So thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Joe. It was a pleasure talking.